willing when he got back to finish his fall semester, so he ended up re-upping a couple of times and stayed much longer than he originally thought. And then electrified fences are something that they will sometimes put out. And again, it's, not just around my little lot here, it's around a great big area where, there could be cattle that we want to keep in and not have them bump into fences, and because they're big enough where they could break them. So electric fence gives them a little jolt, and then they know to try to avoid that in the future. So, and that could very well have been the cause of the fire. I was at a conference one time where a firefighter totally messed up. I felt so horrible for this person. Came in, wheelchair, just in a bad way, and fairly young. And he gave a talk about how he was fighting a wildfire. He's a structural firefighter. But they have pieces of open area, which all of us do. Even in Livonia, I've fought wildfires in parks and grassy areas and the median between 275 north and southbound. But he stepped on what probably was the cause of the fire. You don't know that at the time what caused the fire, but he ended up getting focused on the fire and didn't maintain that situational awareness. He stepped on the power line. The power line probably came down and ignited the grass that was dry during the summer in the first place, but no one knows that. They just see the smoke. They call it in as a grass fire. He went with his crew to put it out and came in contact with the wire, and it messed him up big time. He obviously disabled, duty disability, and it just changed his life. Fortunately, he was able to come and talk about it and had, decent spirits. I think it would be easy to get pretty bummed out if that happened to you, but I applaud him for that. Other non-fire hazard power lines, we just talked about that. Explosives, so I don't know. Do they still do mining? Do they still blast stuff? I don't know. But fireworks can cause a lot of these things. People shoot them off in fields all the time. And maybe they'll leave whatever's left in case it does start a spot fire because they don't want to get in trouble, so they're just in a hurry to get to their car and leave, maybe. Hazardous materials, so again, like I've said before, if you look up the definition of hazardous materials, it's pretty much everything that burns, so it could be a hazmat. But we just have to think with a little bit better head on our shoulders on when we call a hazardous materials team. And there's a good chance that someone in your crew or who's on duty that day is or was a member of the hazmat response team, and they can give you some additional guidance as to how to handle certain situations. Rolling or falling debris, so that's going to be tree branches falling, rocks rolling, you're throwing water, you're digging, they could get loosened, they could become a problem there. Pits or shafts, okay, so, from those old mining days and things like that, they still exist. I don't know if they're actively used anymore much, but I would think they are. There's miners in, like, West Virginia and stuff like that, so you may know about them in advance if there are shafts in your area or not. And animal traps. So, yeah, you've seen those movies before where someone steps on a bear trap or something like that. I don't know, try to watch out where you're stepping. Lightning. So probably the most common cause of natural, the only way I can come up with a natural fire to occur is through lightning. Lightning happens a lot. I didn't really realize it when I was young. I mean, I'll see it a few times a year in the sky. When I see it, it's pretty darn cool. But lightning strikes happen very often. And if it hits something dry, then boom, there you go. There's a potential source. And if it happens during, again, the spring, the fall, or the winter, might not be any residual fire. But if it happens during a nice dry summer, then you've got fuel on the ground and you just hit it with some amazing amounts of heat. So, of course, oxygen is the constant, so it can take off. So be aware of the weather. You should have someone who is in a nice command post vehicle somewhere whose job is monitoring the weather, keeping accurate tabs and communicating that to the crews on any changes in weather conditions. Don't stand under tall, isolated trees. So again, because if they are going to get struck by lightning, it looks for something high to strike first. So that's going to be the first thing that gets hit. And again, once it's struck, is it got to send the branches down? Maybe. Stay away from open water, metal objects, equipment, or wire fences. So obviously those are metal things, or water, which we know all of those things. Metal and water do conduct electricity. So stay away from those. And then find a suitable shelter if at all possible. Get inside of something. Heart failure. So when we do structural firefighting, again, I talked about vehicle fires and how fun they are. Again, probably not fun to say that when someone's, prized vehicle is burning and then they've got to make all these plans and arrangements for rides and things like that. But I always liked them because they were short, they were sweet, they were quick. Very rarely was there a lot of complications with vehicle fires, and short reports. You don't have to do anything too crazy on those, and you're in and out within, about 45 minutes tops typically. But wildland firefighting, you are working for typically a 12-hour stretch. So in that period of time, you've got a backpack with tools and meals and change of clothes, so heavy backpacks on your back. And you are walking to the spot, and once you get to the spot where you're going to work, then you're going to be digging or swinging axes or starting a chainsaw and running those types of things. So heart failure, you're at a high level of activity for a long period of time. Monitor your stress levels, check your heart and lung rates, stay hydrated, and use rehab facilities. So if they have a set up shelter where every so many hours they send you for a designated 15-minute break, take advantage of that, take the break, hydrate, hit the bathroom, eat something, high energy, high carb stuff, and go from there. All right, and I believe that is going to be the end of the wildland firefighting stuff. So let me pop over here and open this up, and let me see, go back to meet, and I think I hit stop presenting. All right, so back to seeing me, I think. Any questions on that last section of chapter 14, which covered wildland firefighting?
Would the amount of fuel also affect a fire's growth?
Absolutely, and the type of fuel. So again, yesterday we talked about those ground fires, so the stuff that's laying on the ground, all the twigs, all the grass, all the brush, all that kind of stuff. Then we talked about the stuff that's just above that, the surface stuff, so the shrubs and small trees and saplings and all those types of things. And then they talked about the crown fires, and that's the stuff that's up high, the tops of those jack pines as they burn. So that's going to be, again, not much you can do about those. That's at the top level. And but other things, you can make those fire breaks that we talked about. So bulldozers, or just people on the line with shovels making a fire break, and then staying on the green to try to make sure if any spot fires happen ahead of that fire as it's running into that no fuel section, that we're able to jump on those spot fires before they turn into a larger fire that starts spreading ahead of you. And then, so fuel, always something that we have to consider. The type of fuel and the moisture content is a biggie as well. Topography figures in there too. Good. Anything else?
So in areas like Brighton, where there's not a ton of open land, would we still have a wildland firefighter crew, or?
Typically, no. The structural crew will be able to respond. Now, in Brighton, even though you say not a lot, actually, you do have far more than we have here in Livonia. In Livonia, we've got a couple of parks and a few open areas, empty lots. And then we've got that median on the freeway by 275, and that's about it for us. So very limited on the stuff that we have. Whereas Brighton has a lot more vacant, open fields and lands and things like that. So we are all covered. So state of Michigan, does have wildland firefighting crews, and they will go wherever the fire happens to be. Obviously, if it's an acre, obviously we can get our crews and call mutual aid if we have to, but we'll probably be able to handle that on our own. But if we need to, your ICs know that they can contact the state and they can get some firefighter crews down here for wildland firefighting. All right, good. Others? No? All right, very good. So we are then going to jump to chapter 15 is the next one on the list. So any questions at all on chapter 14? So I mean, we can go even back further, because even though today we just talked about wildfire, yesterday we talked about class A fires and vehicle fires and dumpster fires and garbage containers, sheds, outbuildings, and prior to that we talked about other things, class A, B, D, C, K type fires and things like that. So anything on chapter 14 that you want to discuss for a minute before we jump over?
Do we want to watch the videos for chapter 14?
Oh, yes, I'm glad you said that. Videos on chapter 14. I should have a few. Let's see. So I'm going to, any questions though before I jump to videos?
No, sir.
Good, thanks for the reminder. Let me see, I'm going to go here and here and here, and let me go here, here, and all right, so let me try this. All right, are you seeing this video on your screen right now?
No, sir. Did you go present
sir.
and you go hit that tab?
Hang on. Let me try. Let me go here. Oh, let me try this. That's not it. Oh,
If you hit that present button, I think the video will show up.
all right. Let me try. I think I'm on that. Chapter 14. That. All right, let's try this one. You seeing the video at this point?
No, sir.
Okay, Bates, just keep your mic open for a minute.
Yeah, I
while
got you.
Try to work on this one. All right, so I've got a tab for what I want to show.
Did you go to the arrow square and go up and it says present a tab? Click the tab that the chapter 14 videos are under.
All right, let me try this. This, and I want. All right, so I click the up thing. I'm still in that meet, and now across the top tab, I have got. All right, you know what? Let me just go to my drive, share.
There it goes.
Okay, so now let me go over to. Let me think for a second.
I can see that one video now, sir.
You can?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
we can see the suggested video.
Oh, all right. Then where do I get to that? Huh. Oh, this one here?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I may have shown this way back when we talked about safety.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you've seen this one before?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I remember
Right.
that.
So that's a couple $1 million crash right there. And again, situational awareness. This person here coming at us has a red light. It's a blind intersection, so safety, safety, safety. Let me see if I go back here. Oh, not what I wanted.
If you go down, it says right there. If you search, it says your drive and it searches. So you just have to scroll down. on your tab. Go to your scroll down. Yep.
Was that one person trying to tell the other fire truck that there was already one coming to try to avoid a crash?
Yeah, that one person was jumping up and down and pointing. Yeah. All right, so if I go back to here, okay, not the way I wanted to do it, but I don't want to do this every time, but let's just see. All right. So are you
Yep.
seeing what I'm seeing?
Yes,
These
sir.
things we did? Okay, so
Yes, sir.
here's one that I doubt you've seen before. Okay, so this one is a little, this one's 60. And I'm going to turn, kind of go down on the volume a little bit. This is car fire. Okay, and you can see that it's slowly there. This is in Gary, Indiana. You can see that there's really no major exposures. I mean, yeah, this utility pole and fence are the closest things to the fire. This is a 1/3 involved vehicle fire, so you can see the hood area underneath the hood and the compartment underneath the hood of the 1/3 area. Obviously, there's a firewall, but that firewall is not fireproof. There are openings in there, and that's where your radio gets power. That's where your heated seats get power from batteries, of course. So it's not at all, if you think of it, a airtight type of thing. That fire will spread in there. You can kind of hear the sirens in the background. Randall jumped down and hit one there. Whoop. I just got a message that says they can't hear the presentation. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was kind of hard to hear what you're trying to explain in this video.
If you do hit
So you
you
cannot hear me?
can hit the if you hit the
I could
closed
hear
captions
but
you can.
just barely with the video. The video was kind of loud.
So if you
Okay.
want
Alright.
what you could try to do is
All right. Let me go.
what you can try to do. There's closed captions. So you could hit the closed captions button so you can see what he's saying.
Something me, because I turned the volume down so I can talk over the volume, but I now have no volume on my video.
There's
Which
a
I'm okay
CC
with.
button. Right there, the CC button. That's what allows you to see what they're saying.
So the CC button is just closed captions.
Oh, this?
Yeah, but you
I
can
don't need
you,
that, do I?
you can do that like in the presentation. So you can still like have the
Well,
sound
you
and
can hear
everything.
me. You can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Right.
So let me go
right
back
now.
here. I'm going to take this video back to a 1:30, and you can see the first engine is arriving on scene. You can see that someone got out of the rear of the truck, someone got out of the front, and there's going to be an officer on the other side. So there's a minimum of 3 people on this truck, although I think there may be 4. But remember, they arrived on the scene. If you can see this little hand thing here at the 1:30 mark, they arrived on scene. And now we are at the 2-minute mark. And yeah, this fire happens in the night. I mean, it's dark. That's all I know. I don't know if it's 7 at night or 2 in the morning. And I know that this crew, just like, us, we have been on a million vehicle fires, but here's 1 full minute goes by and we're just now stretching the line. He does not have his coat zipped up. He does not have a helmet on his head. He does not have an SCBA on. So what was he doing for this past minute? I don't know, but I think they're just not doing what they should be doing as far as speediness. And I know they're going to say, well, the value of this is nothing. I understand that too, but you got to be a little bit more into it than this one. So again, we arrived at 1:30. It's now at 3 minutes. So a minute and a half has gone by. We don't have drop 1 of water yet. Here comes firefighter number 2. This one does have a helmet on. Still no water and no SCBA. So he sticks his face in there and he gets a mouthful of stuff, and you can see him hacking and coughing there. So certainly not ideal. He could only do so much. And he says, you know what, I'm not going to do any more because I'm hacking and coughing, and that's not right. So now at the 3.5 minute mark, so 2 full minutes, we now have water. So we hit a blast of water there, fine. Some in the front to cool all components down so we're not going to get blasted. Okay, that's fine too. And then we're moving over to the other side. Okay, so now the other firefighter, so you just saw him kind of shy away a little bit. That was a tire or a strut that blew. Again, I've got no sound on my video, and I'm not going to try to mess with it to get it. But this hose got caught. This guy on the right pulls it out, and so this guy is now throwing more water. At this point, though, we have got a lot of the flames that were showing out on the sides of the car out, but really the main body of fire is burning underneath that hood and now into the passenger compartment. So that's where we need to get with this hose line. And again, not getting it. This firefighter here is trying to go after the hood again. Now you can't tell, but without the SCBA, that smoke is getting in their eyes are tearing, that's obstructing their vision, so they can't see. Here's 4 firefighters, 1, 2, 3, 4, that we can see on this engine, and that's all you really need for vehicle fire. But oh my gosh, no one has a pack on, and they don't quite have this thing under control just yet, and it is now 5 minutes. We got here at 1:30, so it should not take this long to do this. So there's again, hate to criticize other folks, but we need to be a bit more vigilant. So this is an old video, but again, we need to be in full gear, completely on with SCBA, which is going to eliminate a lot of these problems. Because you'll see the one guy with the hand tool, he's now stepping back because his face was in the smoke. So he now has to catch a breath. The guy